Hey, Dr. Bob here, Proactive Wellness and Injury Center. And what I wanted to do in this video was to address a few of the questions that were sent to us as a result of the previous video we had done. And the one I'm referring to, the subject matter was the issue of the erosion of the brain today as a result of our dependency or increasing dependency on technology. And also I mentioned that balance was an indicator of a problem with the brain along with the cognitive abilities and motion as well. And of course, we talked about how we test it in our office and how we can assess it and rehabilitate it and return it to where it should be. Anyway, uh, regarding the balance issue, the questions were, how does balance indicate that there's a problem with the brain, and how is that related? And that's a really great question. Well, let me explain to you it this way. Balance is a learned ability. So you watch little children, babies, when they're crawling and then they hold on to something and that, and then they start to walk and they fall and they walk and they fall. Balance is something that that brain within that body, within that particular, baby, is learning how to do. That brain is learning how to move that body now through its environment. And that continues to progress as we age. Uh, and there is a zenith or a threshold when it reaches its a certain level. And because of what we do or fail to do, we start, just like any other ability, if it's not continually used, we start to lose it and it starts to erode. And what happens is that not only it's the ability to do that is not only affected, but the source from which that ability generates is starting to regress as well. So, um, more clearly, there was some research done from the British Journal of Sports Medicine, where they tested over 1,700 individuals ages 50 to 75, and they had this one test that if you were not able to do this one 10-second test, if you lost this ability, then your potential of dying was increased by 84%. This is a staggering um, test result, and I want to explain it. The test was your ability to stand on one leg for 10 seconds and then stand on the other leg for 10 seconds. Now, there was no gradient in this. It was either a pass or fail. Either you could hold the test, you could hold your balance for 10 seconds on one leg, you passed on that leg, and then do the same thing on the other leg, and you passed on that. If it was less than 10 seconds, then you failed the test. And those that failed to test, their incidence or the increase potential of death rose to 84%. That means that they were 84% more likely to die as a result of their inability to balance on one foot and the other than others that could balance on both legs. And also, they went on to state that the individuals that were 51 to 75 years old, 20% of those individuals were tested, 20% of those individuals tested, I should say, failed the test. And they surmised that they were twice as likely, those individuals were twice as likely to die within 10 years. Now it's hard to comprehend, frankly, when you look at balance and you say, my gosh, that's a sign of impending death and whatnot within a 10-year period, or my chances of dying are now increased to 84%. It's really hard to understand if you don't go upstream far enough. So let me explain this to you. Your brain is the central control of the entire body. Every function in the human body is dependent upon the function of the brain, or the brain's ability to function, I should say. And the higher the function of the brain, the higher the quality of the function beneath the brain. Okay? So what happens is this. If the person loses his or her ability to balance for 10 seconds or more, and a lot of people will say, hey, wait. that's a problem. That's a muscle atrophy or a muscle weakness in the leg or a weakness in the ankles. Actually, no, it's not. I mean, given if somebody breaks their leg or if they've broken an ankle, there's going to be a diminishing of the strength of those muscles around that area. But with rehabilitation, the body will bring them up between what's called the coefficient of variation. That means there's going to be little disparity between the right and the left leg or whatever it might be. So getting back to that, if you're losing your ability to balance on the leg, that is letting you know that the brain is starting to become sick, if I can say it that way to you. It's losing its ability to function. It's not as sharp and as strong in its performance as it once was. What's happening is it's losing its ability to communicate with with the extremity that's furthest away from it. That would be the foot, the ankle, and the leg in that. If it's losing its ability to do that, then it's losing its ability to communicate with the rest of the body. The Bible teaches us that if one member suffers, all the members suffer. So if there's an area of impairment or loss of function in an area of the body, that means that if the brain can't communicate clearly with the foot, the ankle, the leg, it's also losing its ability to communicate with the heart, with the liver, with the digestive tract, with all the functions that are dependent upon it. So that's how we know that the brain is suffering if indeed a person has lost or is losing their ability to balance themselves. Because in the scheme of all of those things that I've mentioned, the heart is much more important, the liver is much more important, the digestive tract is much more important than the ability for the person to balance. So therefore, if they're losing that ability, we also know that they're losing those functions or the quality of those functions of those organs and systems that I just mentioned earlier. Now, I said that to say this. If you do this test at home and you find that you can't hold your balance for 10 seconds, it's got to be a total of 10 seconds on one leg and then also on the other, I strongly suggest, frankly, that you give our office a call because you're headed down a very slippery slope. What we can do, as I mentioned earlier, is to test you to see where the problems are, because your balance is being affected, your cognitive ability is being affected, as is your motion or the ability for you to move throughout your environment is being affected. We have the means, we have the methods to test you, to rehabilitate you, and to get you back on the track so that you'll be able to once again enjoy the best performance of your life. I want to thank you for allowing me to share this information with you. And in all seriousness, please give us a call. And look, we'll go ahead right now. If you mention that you watch this video, we will, with no cost, no obligation. And this is the only time we're going to do it because, frankly, we don't give anything away. But we'll do this for you because it's that serious an issue. We'll test you with for no cost and no obligation if you contact us and let us know that you saw this and you want to get in. We'll do that for you. So thank you again for allowing me to share this information with you. And until the next video, and as always, God bless.